With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network, as tonight we're here at Iowa for a historic moment as the 10th season of the Upstate Racing League fires off here tonight at Iowa. And in the booth with me, first of all, my name's KR, who cares about me? But man, more importantly, we got the ever famous Kelly Dahl here tonight. Kelly, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this. I mean, this is the only league I commentate for now, so it's really something I look forward to every season. I think this is my fourth season with these guys, if I remember correctly, or if I'm counting correctly. But really excited for this. Iowa Speedway, we always kind of start here, it seems, and it always produces some great racing, and we have a huge turnout tonight. So there is 22 cars in the LCQ. They're all going to be competing for just 10 spots.
Yeah, and we are moving right into the LCQ here tonight. Qualifying has already taken place, but you know what? Drivers sitting on pit lane now to make it into the LCQ. So why don't we go ahead and get started on our starting lineup for this one. In row number 1, on the inside, going to be AJ Rogers. On his outside is going to be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Row number 2, going to be Mike Rhino in the 34, and on his outside, the 75 of Mike Alexander. Row number 3, going to be Paul LaCour in the 33 machine, and the 88 of Matt McLean. And Matt McLean checking in on YouTube as well. Row number 4 going to be Matthew Barkhouse in the 15 machine. On the outside of row number 4, it's the 7 of Jeremy Carpenter. Row number 5 going to be Brett Bartels in the 42, and then the 08 of Devin Johnson. Kelly?
Row number 6, starting in 11th, just outside of our transfer position, that's going to be the 03 of Jay Speedy Brissett. And on his outside, the 64 of Andrew Plank. Row 7, we'll see the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. and the 113, the rookie of Zach Coyer. Row 8, we'll see the 56 of James Robbins on the inside, and it is a full rookie line with the 53 of Colin Phillip on the outside. Row 9, we've got the 30 of Zach Daniels and the 36 of Mark Royer. And row 10, we'll see the 45 of Justin Smith and the 9 of Brian Jones. And rounding out our LCQ field will be the 1 of Wayne McDuff III and the 77 of Jeremy Watkins. And your LCQ is brought to you by The Old Shed. The Old Shed is located at 1008 Country Road 26, Ironton, Ohio, and they offer all new general merchandise, toys, and so much more. So if you are in the area, go check them out. And we are rolling here on the LCQ.
All right, so drivers making their way out on to the speedway. Kelly, you've been with the Upstate Racing League longer than I have. I've had the pleasure of calling these, or I believe this is my 3rd season. If I got my shoes on, so I can't count, so bear with me. But each and every year we come to Upstate Racing League, it is always a great time and something spectacular to see week in and week out.
I always say these guys are some of the best short track drivers on iRacing, and I always mean it. They put on some amazing shows, some great races, and like I said, I always look forward to calling the races every season.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, this is going to be another spectacular season, our 10th season for the Upstate Racing League. That's 10 years. The Upstate Racing League only has 1 season a year. It's been put on.
No. The early seasons were not actually. I think the first couple seasons weren't yearly. So I don't think it's quite 10 years, but it is 10 seasons.
Either way, it's been going for a long time. Here we are with the 10th season, and man, I'm just excited to get it underway here tonight.
Yeah, and that will be happening shortly. We'll be going with our LCQ. As mentioned, we have 22 drivers in the LCQ. Only the top 10 will make the show. Led now by AJ Rogers. Pace car goes down and away. For the first time this season, we are going to be green as AJ Rogers is going to be leading the field. The 13 of Guillaume Fortin looking to hold off on that outside. Looking throughout the rest of the field, the big battles, like you said, is going to be around that 10th position. Everyone's still checked up evenly and still holding on to that outside number 10 spot. That's going to be the 08 of Devin Johnson.
So the 17 machine working the inside lane for the race lead off of turn number 4. And Rogers leading the first lap here in the last chance qualifier.
And you can see these cars getting all sorts of loose, and we got problems in the field. Caution is out. Caution laps will not count in this LCQ, and someone went around in between turn 1 and turn 2, and that is the rookie Andrew Plank in the 64 machine.
All right, let's see Andrew Plank in the 64 going around. Let's see if we can catch and see what happened to him. He works his way into the corner. Contact with the 03 is going to send that G Fuel 64 around. So the first caution coming out for the night.
Quick look at our field after that initial scramble. Holding on to that bubble position is the 42 of Brett Bartels. He is currently in 10th place. Just sitting outside, Andrew Plank. Oh, sorry, that has not updated yet. So I think Plank is going to be at the back of the field, depending on what they kind of order here with the race control. That'll either be Brissett in 11th, or it might be Rogers, depending on if they send Brissett to the back of the field. So field coming across the line now. Oh, sorry, they're still frozen. So we're not going to get any updated standings on our end until we go green again.
So AJ Rogers out in front. Then it's the 13 at Guillaume. Top 10 drivers making it in. And, you know, every time I come to Iowa, I always look forward to it no matter what car it is. This is one of the best tracks in iRacing, in my opinion. We're going to see cars high. We're going to see them low. We're going to see them in the middle. We might even see them in the middle 2 lanes. It always puts on a good show here at Iowa. Man, I'll tell you, it's never disappointing the kickoff of season at Iowa.
I'll be honest, I've driven this track a bunch in the official series, won a couple times here. It's only been in the IndyCar though. I am pretty much terrible at this track and anything that doesn't have wings. So I took the car out for a spin just before we kind of got started here, and there's a reason I'm in the booth. So I'm going to stay up here and I'll let these guys kind of do the work down on the racetrack. But again, always a fun track, and Iowa always seems to be kind of crazy when we start the season here. Everyone's just kind of raring to go, and we get a little bit hectic throughout the race. So hopefully we can get through the rest of the LCQ. As mentioned, caution laps do not count. When we restart, we'll be going on to lap 3.
All right, so just a little bit of a slowdown very early on here, but not the end of the world. Some of these drivers probably going to enjoy this little bit of a break that they're going to have, allow them to catch their breath and all that kind of stuff. But either way, when we get this thing fired back off, these super late models, the cars sound amazing. The horsepower that they can put down is amazing. And it is always going to be amazing. Can I say it one more time?
Yeah, well, they switched to the super late model last year, and they've stuck with it for this season. And the good thing, these cars have just created some fantastic races. And lights are out on the pace cars, so we'll be going back racing in just a moment.
Well, I do want to go ahead and introduce one other member to this spectacular crew that's starting to shape up for your broadcast. That's none other than Roger Muth.
Well, KR, Kelly, good to be here tonight. A little bit of a late start for myself here, but I see we are racing this last chance qualifier. Little bit behind, still getting gathered in here, KR.
Sounds good, but the green flag coming out, and Rogers gets a huge jump over Guillaume. Guillaume looked like he got caught napping on that one. Rogers unchallenged down into turn 1. Mike Alexander in the 75 going to slide into second place, but Guillaume with a good run down the backstretch using that outside momentum.
Yeah, Guillaume's having a fight to recover, starting to lose some ground on that high side, and I think he just forgot that this wasn't the initial start. It was not controlled by the green flag, but by the leader, and AJ Rogers took advantage of that. Now being able to use the entire length of the width of the racetrack as Ortan and Alexander continue to go battle door to door. And just looking back throughout the field, Bartels has moved himself up into 9th, and now there is a battle for the 10th position. The final transfer spot, Devin Johnson on the inside trying to hold off Brian Rogers Jr., who's trying to battle on the outside. Bit of contact between those two cars. They're going to recover, and there is going to be a dive to the inside.
Here comes Zach Coyer, that rookie down there in the 113 machine. He's going to be the big benefactor there of that issue coming out of turn number 4. He'll dive to the inside here. He's going to try and take that position from Brian Rogers, and he will. That Yoo-Hoo machine for Rogers works the outside, but the inside lane right now here in this race seems to be the way to go. The inside, usually on a fixed setup, is the fast lane, and it shows it once again here at Iowa as they battle down into turn number 1 here for that 11th position.
Zach Coyer in that 13 machine trying desperately to make it into the show through this last chance qualifier. He's got 2 cars to deal with right now. The final driver who's going to transfer in, that is the 8 machine of Devin Johnson. Brett Bartels just ahead of him, and the 7 of Jeremy Carpenter looking very solid here tonight as well.
Brian Rogers is able to fend off Coyer, and now he's going to try to reel in Johnson, as Johnson took advantage of those two guys battling behind him, opened up a bit of a gap, about 0.4 of a second between the 08 and the 12. So we'll have to see if Rogers can take the rest of that gap down, as we're now halfway through the LCQ top 10, as mentioned, move on to the main event.
Yeah, the only side-by-side battle right now inside that top 10 would be the number 33 of Paul Lacourt, as he works to the inside of the 34. A Rhino right now, contact down into turn number 3, sends the 34 up the track sideways for Rhino. He's going to be able to hang on to that Ford. That will also bring now Matthew in the number 15 right up onto the back deck lid of that number 33. Paul Lacourt, one of those dirt track racers here with the Upstate Racing League, now battling in the super late model on the asphalt here tonight. He is side by side as they work back off of turn number 2. Lacourt and Rhino still side by side into 3.
The 33 machine digging hard on the inside lane. Rhino on the outside, but we got one car thinking about trying to make it 3 wide. Barkhouse in the 15 machine wisely doesn't try and stuff it in that hole that was there, but man, he thought about it for a moment.
Yeah, definitely a battle shaping up between those two, as the 34 still holding on that outside line. Mike Rhino has been just stuck on the high side. Bit of smoke coming from the tires as he gets a little loose off of 4, but still is able to maintain the speed and momentum on that high line, and actually beats the 33 to the line. Just going back to the little bit in the field, and that 8 of Devin Johnson is under fire once again, as Brian Rogers and Zach Coyer have both caught up to him in that final transfer spot. Now Rogers looking to the high side while also trying to fend off that 113.
Yeah, this all stems from just out in front of them, as, big moment for Lacourt as he was sideways off of turn number 4. Now here comes Carpenter. He was going to think to go to the inside down into turn number 1, but he elected to fall back into line. Right now, Carpenter knows he's locked in, doesn't want to go up and make the big mistake, but Barkel says he will. He'll dive to the inside in turn number 3. That'll put Lacourt, as he slides up the track almost into Lacourt in turn 3, still trying to gather it up for Bark. Hal says he comes off of turn number 4. They single file out. Now Carpenter and Bartels are side by side for position number 8. It's still Johnson back there in the 10th position with only 3 laps to go here.
The laps are winding down, and the battle for the final transfer spot really starting to heat up. Devin Johnson in the 8, still holding on to it, but Brian Rogers, Zach Coyer, they're looking to take it away from him 2 more times around, as AJ Rogers is still out in front. Guillaume Fortin in the 13 and second, with Mike Alexander, the 75, rounding out your top 3 in this last chance qualifier.
Problems for the 8. He gets bumped by Jeremy Carpenter, goes up the racetrack, loses 2 spots. So now Brian Rogers into that final transfer position. More contact between the 8, this time with the 113. He goes all the way up into the wall. White flag in the air. Who's going to move on to the main event?
Yeah, right now it is Brian Rogers Jr. He is in that transfer position. The number 12 Yoo-Hoo entry of Rogers being run down by Zach Coyer. Will Coyer have enough ground to make up? Will he be able to do it down the back straightaway? Last-ditch effort for Coyer. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It will be A.J. Rogers as they battle side by side at the line. It'll be Rogers by about a half a car length over Guillaume Fortin. Then it's going to be Mike Alexander, Matt McLean. Those are your top 4 drivers. Mike Rhino is 5th.
Paul Lacourt, Matthew Barkhouse, Brett Bartels, Jeremy Carpenter, and Brian Rogers all make it in to our last chance qualifier.
Quick rundown of those that did not qualify and are ending their night early. Zach Coyer comes home 11th. Devin Johnson, with a little bit of bad luck the last 2 laps, he drops from 10th to 12th and will not advance. Jay Speedy Brissett finishes 13th. James Robbins 14th. Colin Phillip 15th. Mark Royer 16th. Wayne McDuff III 17th. Andrew Plank will come home 18th. 19th for Zach Daniels. 20th for Justin Smith. Jeremy Watkins in 21st, and rounding out the LCQ, Brian Jones. So that last group of drivers, their night is over, and they will have to come back next week.
All right, guys, with all that going on, we are going to take a quick break as the final warm-up session is underway. We'll be right back after this.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C, plus ginseng. And the best part is, no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's bangalicious.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Oh! Wait.
That's a strike right there. Woo! Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upstate Racing League kickoff race here at Iowa. As always, in the booth with me is Kelly Dahl and, of course, some scrub named Roger who thinks he's a mooth in the booth. So, gentlemen, we've gone through the LCQ. We're now looking at these drivers here in the final practice session. Kelly, so far, what are you thinking about tonight's race?
I mean, if the feature is going to be just as exciting as the LCQ, I don't know how we're going to make it through all 110 laps, because that 15 lap sprint was insane. We were constantly going, so I think we'll be burnt out by the end of 110 laps if they battle like they did.
Roger, so far this race is well, it's Iowa, it's living up to its name. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the keys tonight for a lot of these drivers it's going to be holding it down on the bottom. We saw a lot of those passes made in that last chance qualifier. They were held down to the bottom. The second groove here tonight, you might see it start to work itself in, but I'm not quite sure. I think if you go up there a little bit too early, you're going to start to use up the tires. The tires tonight will be the big factor to depend who's going to find themselves into a good finishing position and who's going to be left slipping and sliding tonight here in the cornfields at Iowa.
All right, so as they continue to cycle around the final few moments of this practice session before we let them loose here at Iowa. And Kelly, well, tonight's race, it's the M&M Country Store's 110. What do you have to say about that?
Well, this race is brought to you tonight, as you mentioned, by M&M Country Store. They are a convenience store in Peasleyville, New York. They have gas, a convenience store, as mentioned, and a small dine-in restaurant. So if you find yourself in the area, go stop by, let them know that the Upstate Racing League sent you there. So one thing that we didn't neglect to mention is because this race is so long, they're gonna need fuel, and they've got an extra set of tires, which is a bit of a rare event here in this league.
All right, so with all that being said, the drivers are starting to take to the grid. A lot on the line here tonight for our opening race of the season. Let's get right into it. On the inside of row number 1, by virtue of laying down the best qualifying time, it's the 90, or I'm sorry, by virtue of the invert, it is the 99 of Justin Rigsby. On the outside of row number 2, the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre. Row number 2 going to be made up of last season's champion, the 24 of Steph Marinak. On his outside, the 4 of Chris Stump. Row number 3 will be Trey Edison in the 25 and the 39 of Bill Martin. Row number 4 going to be the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr., and the 51 of Justin Fuller. Row 5 will be the 8 of Andy Lambert and the 20 of Justin McDuff.
Row number 6, we're going to see the big boss man himself, 96 of Al Smith Jr. On his outside, his buddy AJ Hamill. Row number 7, we're going to have the 87 rookie of Matt Eddy. Alongside him will be the 11 of Brian Hacker. Row 8 sees the 181 of Gareth Gonder and Drew Krybrick in the 112 on the outside. Row number 9, the 17, starting 17th, will be AJ Rogers. Guillaume Fortin going to be starting in 18th. And row number 10, rounding out the top 20, is going to be the 75 of Mike Alexander and the 88 of Matt McLean.
Row number 10, going to be Mike Rhino and the 21, or I'm sorry, row 11, I can do math, and the 22 of Paul Lecart. Row number 12, going to be Matthew Barkhouse and the 42 of Brett Bartels. Row number 13, Jeremy Carpenter in the 7 and Brian Rogers. Row number 14, Zach Coyer in the 113, then Devin Johnson. Row 15.
KR, those guys didn't qualify.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
said he was good at math, but that's debatable now at this point.
All right, so that didn't update either. So mark that one down as, yeah. So there we go. Thanks.
Because of how they're having to organize things, they have to take everyone through the heat, which I think messes with our scoring on our end. So that's something we're going to have to keep in mind throughout the season.
That it is. So the lights are out on the Ford Mustang. Justin Rigsby, Jimmy McIntyre going to lead this field down to the green flag. And here we go as the green flag is out for the M&M Country 110. And we are underway into turn number 1.
Great move just a little bit behind them in the field. The 39 of Bill Martin diving from the high side to the low side, but his car is all sorts of out of shape as he was fighting with that thing through turns 1 and 2. Justin Rigsby still holds on to that lead with a fantastic start, but just behind them, Steph Marinak, we know he's fast and he's trying to get around Jimmy McIntyre, who's struggling to hold that car on the high side. Looks like all of these guys are just fighting for grip at this point.
Yeah, that Gators machine was hungry there. Him and McIntyre almost making contact. Now that's going to put McIntyre to the outside. He now will go side by side down the back straightaway here, lap number 2. The tire's still trying to come up to temperature. The new tire model here with the super late model coming just a couple of weeks ago to the iRacing.com platform. And right now, McIntyre's tires just not quite up to snuff, as Trey will take the 25 down to the bottom. Chris Stump is also right there with Bill Martin just in tow. Behind them, Justin Fuller also trying to figure out where they want to go a little bit farther back into the field, though. Right off that start, AJ Hamill and a couple of the other drivers that are running about 13th, 14th, 15th position, they all kind of got stacked up, and one big drop through the bucket for AJ Rogers. He had to go down to the bottom to avoid running into a couple machines, so he has lost 5 positions here in the early stages of this one.
We take a shot looking down at the racetrack from our Hanson's starter shop blimp cam. The 18 machine of AJ Hamill falling back a spot, but someone who is moving forward since the drop of this green flag, that is the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. He has already gained 7 spots, and he's looking for another as he begins to try and work over the 11 of Brian Hacker.
And that 13 machine, you can't count him out. He finished 3rd in the point standings last season. He's always been quick, nearly had his first win, but unfortunately had that taken away from him, and I think he's hungry for that win to finally come. And looking out throughout the field, we still got a bit of a battle for the lead starting to shape up as Steph Marinak now getting to the bumper of that 99 of Justin Rigsby.
Little by little, last year's champ of Steph Marinak has been showing why he was last year's champ. That 24 machine, very strong here in the early going, but Justin Rigsby still able to bring the 99 across the start-finish line here. He will lead the first 6 laps here tonight for the season opener at Iowa. So it's Rigsby, Marinak, Edison, Stump, and Martin, your top 5. Matt Eddy back here doing some battle. This is where the Hornet's Nest really starts back here with AJ Hamill on back with Lambert, Smith, Eddy, Alexander all back here. Right now, Al Smith, boss man, working with that Mustang down to the bottom, having the 97 of Eddy to the outside. Eddy, one of those super late model drivers in real life, knows how to wheel these machines out in the Midwest. And showing here tonight, he can battle with some of the best of the Upstate Racing League in the season opener. The 75 of Alexander right there. Everybody's starting to jump around right now.
So the 96 of Al Smith trying to work over the 8 of Andy Lambert. Andy Lambert having a little bit of connection issues every now and then. When that car settles back into the track, you see the tires smoke out of that thing. That's no big deal, nothing to worry about. But the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre on the outside lane, that is the 51 machine of Justin Fuller trying to work to his inside. Joe Schaefer in the 6, also taking a peek to the inside. The 98 of Chris Stump right now in that 5th spot. He's going to be trying to dive to the inside of Bill Martin.
Yeah, trying to work over Bill Martin there, who kind of took a position from him just a few laps ago. He's going to back out and kind of save it for later. These guys do have to kind of pay attention to their tires. For once, they will have a set of tires that they can take at any point during this race, but it's part of a strategy call. You got to make those tires last because it's still 110 laps, and you can't really bet on a caution with this league, as a lot of these guys race fairly cleanly and have some good control of the cars. You saw early on with the cars just being all out of shape on those cold tires, those guys were still able to wheel them and keep them pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, how many times have we seen over the years the Upstate Racing League go green to checkered right now as we work upon lap number 12? Joe Schaefer Jr. is working on Jimmy McIntyre. McIntyre, since the drop of the green flag, he has been stuck to that outside groove, and that 81 has just been dropping backwards.
Steph Marinak in the 24, diving down to the inside of the 99 of Justin Rigsby, and Marinak gets to the throttle. Little bit of contact off of turn number 4, but Marinak gonna come away with the race lead. That contact upset the 99, and that is going to allow Trey Edson to his inside. Bill Martin gonna try and follow that open door by the 25.
Bit of contact as well between the 98 and the 39. Stump just kind of getting caught out by the checkup and just getting a bit of an accordion effect as he rear ends the 39. Doesn't seem to be too much damage to either one of those cars, and hopefully there isn't much damage to the front of Stump, because that could cause some overheating issues. We'll have to keep an eye on him later on. But that 99, now that he's been shuffled to that high lane, troubles for him as he now tags the wall on the back straightaway, and he's going to lose a position to Martin.
Yeah, right now it just seems like Rigsby has been knocked out of the comfort zone of him. A little bit of a slide there onto the right rear tire for the 99. As you see, Stump works the inside. Now here comes Fuller. Fuller will now dive it down to the bottom here in turn number 1. Will he be able to pick up the position? Because Joe Schaefer is right there. Jimmy McIntyre. Thornton's back there also. So a lot of hungry drivers back here that can wheel it. And if you're stuck to the outside like Jimmy McIntyre was earlier, look, McIntyre, remember, he started up front. He's back to running 8th. Rigsby is just about to be in the same position as Schaefer. At the line is down below. They will go back into turn number 1, side by side. Big way to the outside that time for Rigsby.
Yeah, Rigsby, one of our many rookies here this season, and he's had a good start, had a good qualifying, but now he's in some trouble on that high lane, has now moved all the way back into 7th and back towards the front of the field. Steph Marinak got the lead, and he is now trying to run away from the rest of the field. Already opened up 0.4 of a second over Edson just behind him in that 25, who is now our top place rookie in this race, but he has got some serious competition behind him. Let's look at this. Martin, Stump, and Fuller. Those are 3 drivers that it is terrifying to see in your rear view mirror, because they are fast guys and they want those positions.
Yeah, Bill Martin, the short track driver here on the iRacing.com platform, has some ties into the Ty Majeski stable. Everybody knows the Ty Majeski, running in the real life and super late models and getting some starts up into the NASCAR ranks. Also very popular. One of the highest I-rated drivers on iRacing, and Bill Martin has some of those secrets in the back pocket for that group as he battles for that second position. He's just been able to follow in the tire tracks. Oh, look at him get real close that time down there into the corner with his Chevrolet right to the back bumper of that 25. But Chris Stump, one of those drivers, he's been a champion in the past years. He will now dive to the inside in turn number 3. He'll go side by side with Bill Martin as they come off of turn 4. Joe Schaefer, don't forget him. He's just sitting back there in 6th. You know, kind of gathering his thoughts, gathering the data. That man, watch for him to be a big factor here tonight.
Marinak is out in front and pulling away, but Edson trying to close in on him. Meanwhile, the 98 still trying to work to the inside of Bill Martin. That is an epic battle at the front of the field, but man, I'll tell you what, these drivers all know how to race each other. They have been doing it for, well, quite a while, and it is always spectacular to see them side by side, lap after lap.
And Martin now trying to see if he can look at the outside on Edson and see if he can maybe pin him down on the inside line on the corner exit, but it's not quite going to work as that 25 machine slides back out in front. Marinak now kind of managing the gap, keeping them at about 4/10 back, not wanting to push too hard and burn off his tires. As again, 39 of Martin looking towards that high side, just trying to find a way and trying to find a line that will get him around that 25 machine. I think he feels that he's got the speed, but just it's one thing to be faster than another driver. It's another thing to overtake him.
Yeah, talk about overtaking back into the 10th position. That's Guillaume Fortin. He right now is the biggest mover so far of the event. He has been passing cars left and right. He is up 8 spots as he works to the inside. Now actually a big slide that time. He falls back. There's the 20 of Justin McDuff. The Arts Barbershop number 20 works the outside groove while Guillaume works the Racing Designs 13. Sideways for Guillaume. He'll hang on to it coming out of turn 4, but that's going to lose a position or two because here comes the Arts Barbershop number 18 of AJ Hamill. He'll work the outside, but what a save by Guillaume. It could have been a night ender there. He kept it out of the grass, and he's still out there turning left.
75 machine of Mike Alexander going to get around the 13 of Guillaume as he gathers it back in, slides into the tire tracks of the 75, but Guillaume now still under attack as the 8 of Andy Lambert taking a peek to his inside as they go off into turn number 1. Both drivers split that infamous bump.
Oh, trouble on the racetrack. 39 into the wall.
Bill Martin, a couple of them in there.
Martin. Looks like Stump is well involved as those two cars got into each other off of 2 and slammed into the turn 2 wall.
And take a look at this one. Bill Martin, Chris Stump, contact between each other off of turn number 2. Looked like maybe Joe Schaefer getting a little piece of it as well in the 6. And he does. And Schaefer going up and over, slid on his roof, lands on all 4 wheels and comes to a stop, able to get it rolling. But how about that for Joe Schaefer?
Yeah, big tumble for that 6 machine who just unfortunately kind of got involved in that. And just before this happened, I mean, a couple laps prior, I saw the 39 just kind of get loose off of 4. He lost his position. We got one taker coming down pit road here because these guys are going to need fuel and tires at some point tonight. And Justin Fuller, I don't know if he's going to go for fuel now and try to just run to the end or what his plan is, but he maybe has something up his sleeve.
Yeah, a couple of those drivers actually do come down. Guillaume comes down along with Matt Eddy, Carpenter, of course, Schaefer, Stump, and Martin already on pit road with heavy damages to their super late models. We'll see if they're going to be able to get back out onto the speedway or not. Martin and Stump actually had to take the tow to pit road. Schaefer was able to drive his number 6 machine back, but it's going to be heavy damage for Joe Schaefer. We're going to see if he's going to be able to get back out here. I'm not quite sure. That number 6 Ford Mustang Epic Media machine, it is really tore up. Kelly, you know, just like a lot of us do that have been onto the iRacing service for a very long time, the damage done to those machines tonight here at this big Iowa track, there's a lot of draft that plays a factor here tonight.
Yeah, it's no Daytona, but for these super late models and for these guys, I think this is the largest track they go to in the season. And going down these straightaways, you can actually get quite a bit of a draft going on there. And aerodynamics, for once, does start to play a factor here at this track. I mean, you go next week and even just over at Irwindale, you can bang up your race car and you'll have no issues. But here at Iowa, you gotta have a bit of a clean race car if you want to have success. And for a lot of these, for those 3 drivers, I think the night's going to be essentially over for them.
Well, tough break for some of our front runners here in the first race of the season. But one driver out in front who has had a beautiful view of this Iowa Speedway, that is the 24, Steph Marinak. Edson on his back bumper has been trying to reel him in. We do have a change at the front, moving up into third now. That is the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre. He's going to take advantage of the tough luck of Bill Martin, Chris Stump, and Joe Schaefer. Not only that, but those three drivers, Joe Schaefer, Chris Stump, Bill Martin, last season, they were some of the ones that always finished in the top 5. So this race now seems to be blown wide open.
Yeah, I mean, Schaefer was second in the standings, Martin was 5th, and Stump was 7th. I mean, those guys are all extremely fast drivers, so this is going to be a good start for Marinak if he wants to defend his title. However, there is one drop race during the regular season, so your worst result out of the first 7 races will be dropped from your point standing. So it's not a complete death blow for those 3 drivers, but it isn't the way that they'd probably want to start their season.
Yeah, it's always good to have that drop week. You never want to use it, but it's always nice to have it in the back pocket, sort of like having an extra set of tires here tonight at Iowa. But take a look at who's running in the 4th position right now. That's the number 11 Illinois. That is Brian Hacker. That's the Upstate Racing League dirt racing champion, not just in the street stocks, but also the late models. Good to see him up here. I just had a little bit of a sit down over the off season with him, and he said the competition in the Upstate Racing League this season, coming to the asphalt side of things, probably was the strongest fields that he has ever seen on a super late model race. Right now, with him running 4th, he said all he needs to do this season is just have those consistent finishes. Now, with 3 of the faster guys out of this one here tonight, he has a chance maybe to go up and battle the champion here on the asphalt side of things with Steph Marinak.
Yeah, he says it's the strongest field he sees because it's in the asphalt side, he actually sees the field. The dirt side, he just ran away from them.
You're right there. He set the most wins last season for the Upstate Racing League.
Oh, I know.
I
was in the dirt street stock watching him drive into the distance.
All right, lights are out on the Ford Mustang pace car. We get ready to let them fly once again. The 24 of Marinak on the inside of row number 1. All right, Trey Edson on the outside. Row 2 going to be the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre, and then the 11 of Brian Hacker as the pace car gets out of the way. Marinak gets to the throttle, and we get back to green flag racing. We start lap 31 of our M&M Country 110.
Yeah, it looked like 25 got the jump that he needed. He matched kind of when Marinak was going to get on the throttle, but I saw a little bit of a wiggle from that tail end, so kind of prevented him from really battling into turn 1, but he is going to slot into position in 2nd. McIntyre and Hacker battling it out in the just behind them, and looks like Hacker making that high side work. He's going to clear the 81.
Yeah, 2 drivers that did battle in the dirt side of things. Call it 3 drivers because there's Justin McDuff also right there. Now Justin McDuff goes to the outside. So now you just saw 2 passes to the outside groove for the first time here tonight. Justin Rigsby saw that. He thought about throwing the 99 to the outside. He is on the outside, but will he be able to make it work? McIntyre now stuck to the bottom. Everybody looks like they may have found a little bit of something here with the tires a little bit cooler to the outside groove.
Keep in mind the drivers will have to make a pit stop for fuel, and tires are allowed. 1 extra tire set available to the drivers here tonight, and when they hit pit road is going to be up to them. Common practice is at any point past the halfway mark, but man, I'll tell you what, sometimes getting a pit lane a little bit early can change your fortunes. And man, I don't know when I'd want to hit pit lane here tonight.
I think personally I would go until either a caution comes out towards the middle part of the race, or just go until that fuel tank is almost empty, because I don't want to come down pit road and then have a caution, because pit road will probably put you down a lap, maybe even 2 depending on how long it takes. But I don't want to come down pit road, lose all that position, then have a caution come out. So I think that's probably what we're going to see, is if we get a caution towards that middle part, everyone's going to file down to that pit road.
We'll have to wait and see towards, call it about the midpoint of this race. After about 50 to go, we'll see if those pit cycles do start to come here tonight, or if they're a little bit later on into this run. There is a big 3-wide battle, though. Justin Fuller back there in the 16th position. He will dive to the inside of AJ Rogers and Brett Bartels. They made it 3 wide here tonight, and Fuller's going to slide up in front of the 42. Coming out, contact for AJ Rogers. It was Rogers and Bartels making contact then out of turn number 2. As that 51 of Fuller just slid up there, and now he's going to set his sights in front of him with Andy Lambert in that number 8 car. big moment there for a couple of these drivers running about the mid-pack.
Guillaume Fortin in the 13. He's working down to the inside of the 33 machine of Paul Lecourt. And that is a very close battle. Guillaume in that 18th spot, Lecourt in 19th. But Guillaume trying to work his way forward. We have seen Guillaume at the front of the field all of last season. Here tonight, maybe not having the best of runnings he'd like to have, but still has a lot of laps to work his way forward.
And we're still very early on in this race. We saw earlier that he can make some passes, and he's trying to do it again. We saw him run into some trouble earlier on, getting loose off of 4. I believe we mentioned that he came down pit road. I don't know entirely what his pit road service contained, but now he's trying to work his way back through the field. He's in the position that he started in, nearly gets into the 42 of Brett Bartels, as these guys are all just nose to tail and door to door.
Right now, it looks like Guillaume kind of just settling in for the time being right there, but Fuller is still on the move sideways in that 51. Boy, was he letting it hang out there. If he put tires on that 51, he just used a little bit of that life up, just trying to hang on and come back through the field. Drew would be the next one up in that number 12 machine. Andy Lambert, though, still holding strong with his 8 car to the outside. Here comes Brett Bartels now. He'll slide down into 3, and he almost slides up into AJ Rogers. Also, Guillaume just kind of sitting there. This is a battle back here on lap number 41.
Drivers really just letting it all hang out here as we go on board with the 13 of Guillaume Fortin all the way from Canada. And Kelly, your Canada boys are representing very well here tonight.
Yeah, but they're all on the other side. I think all the Canadian guys here in this league are all on the East Coast. I'm all the way on the West Coast. And speaking of being on the other side of the thing, we're going to go from the back of the mid-pack of the field up towards the front, as we've got a battle between the 20 of Justin McDuff and that 181 of Gareth Gonder, as these guys are just door to door, bouncing off of each other through the corners, trying to catch up to Jimmy McIntyre.
These guys did bring their boxing gloves. Like, look at Al Smith back there in the 96. He is running 10th. That is Justin Rigsby. He started on the front row here tonight in our main event, and now he is stuck to the outside. There's the 88 of Matt McLean is also right there. The 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, he is right there. They've run side by side. Smith has the advantage right now with that Upstate Racing League Ford Mustang, as he will take sole possession of position number 9. He'll slide up in front of that 99 and let everybody else kind of sort it out behind him. These guys, they're not holding any punches before halfway, KR.
No, they're not. And these super late models can chew up tires in a hurry. And now we're going to start seeing where some of the drivers who have held back a little bit, maybe have conserved their tires, are going to start working forward as we are deep into this tire run. Other drivers who have maybe cooked their tire a little bit, going to start falling back, as the 81 machine going to make a move down to the inside. I'm sorry, the 181. I apologize. There's 281s out there. Gareth Gonder to the inside of Justin McDuff. He's going to take over 6th spot as a rookie. He is the highest running rookie here tonight. Only 2 rookies in this A main field here. So that just goes to show you experience paying off here at Iowa.
We got Trey Edson actually still running up in 2nd. He's been able to hold off Ryan Hacker now, who's caught up to him, but kind of those top 3 guys really have just checked out from the rest of the field. I mean, we got Mike Alexander still kind of hanging on back there, and speaking of Mike Alexander, he's our top placed guy that had to race his way in through the LCQ. He was able to finish 3rd in that LCQ, which started him 19th for the feature race. He's now all the way up into 4th as we work through lap 47.
Yeah, that is the biggest mover of the race. Jimmy McIntyre still runs in that 5th position, so it's still a good run for Jimmy McIntyre. Everybody else right now still battling it out behind them. Justin Rigsby and Barkhorse also right there just outside the top 10 now, trying to hang on. A look at the man that's sitting there in the 51, though. Fuller is on the march. I don't know if he put new tires on, but the lap times and the moves that he is making to get past some of these guys shows me that I think he might have put those tires on. He's looking to make it 3 wide. Oh, big slide that time by Barkhorse, that time out of 4. That could have took Fuller and Rigsby.
The 15 settles it down, sends it off into turn number 1, but the 99 still hanging top on the outside lane. Fuller in the 51 looking to make something happen here as the 39 machine of Bill Martin going to rejoin the race. Bill Martin about 25 laps down, but getting back out there, trying to gain some spots. And you can't blame him here in this first race of the season. You don't want to sit around and, walk away with very little points if you can get back out there.
Yeah, because you never know when you might have to miss a race and use your drop week then. So he needs to salvage as many points as he can. And looking throughout the field, Andy Lambert seems to be having some troubles on that low side. He's got cars just freight training him on the high side, and he is just dropping like a rock through the field. Was 14th at the start of the lap. By the end of the lap, 17th. Now has already dropped into 18th, and he's having to fend off another car in the 112 of Drew Krybik.
Yeah, Krybik gonna work the Epic Media Machine to the outside. I think something may be wrong with Andy Lambert here. Maybe just heated up the tires just a little too much. KR, you talked about the tires as Matt Eddy is going around. Andy Lambert, it's showing all signs that those tires are either gone or he had a huge slide that we missed and they're just too hot to hold the power.
Yeah, that 8 machine showing signs, in my opinion, of being abused, and that 8 very slow into the entry. The 12 machine of Brian Rogers going to scoot on by unchallenged, and Rogers going to take another position. Rogers is up 6 positions since the start of this race. Andy Lambert, one of those guys looking to take on a pit stop here, maybe with a caution, but we are nearing the halfway point. We could see drivers hit pit lane here before too long.
Yeah, going to take another look at our top pack that has kind of separated themselves from the field, and it started to tighten up a little bit. Steph Marinak was holding on to a 4/10 of a lead, 4/10 of a second lead, sorry, and now that has dropped down to just under 2/10. Just behind them, Mike Alexander gonna just dive underneath Brian Hacker. Brian Hacker gonna let him go, thinking of his tires here, not wanting to wear what's left of them out. He might be trying to go for a long run as we now are crossing that lap 55 halfway mark. So I'd say the pit window is open now.
Yeah, the pit window is open, but when do you really come? Do you want to come get the tires now and then, maybe at the end of the race try to be holding on, or do you hold on to the tires as long as you can and then come? Right now, Mike Alexander says, well, he doesn't care about the tires on his number 75. He is going to use them right now. It seems like Brian Hacker maybe has started to back up his corners. He's going to try and save a little bit on the number 11. Marinak, though, how many times have we seen Steph Marinak get to the lead and then just kind of sit there and save the car, save the tires, save the brakes? So he could possibly be playing a little bit of possum out here with Trey and Mike and Hacker, who are all right here inside the top 4. They have broken away right now by just about 2.5 seconds over the 5th place machine of Jimmy McIntyre, who then has a little bit of a gap back between himself and the 181 machine before the rest of the field back there. So Steph Marinak may be just sitting there playing possum in that number 24 Florida Gators machine.
Looking on board out the back of the 11 of Brian Hacker, you can see that gap to Jimmy McIntyre, who's in 5th place. Hacker solidly in 4th right now, but you talk about Marinak out in front of this field. The nice thing about being Steph Marinak and leading this thing, well, you can pick your line, you can pick your pace, and he is doing a good job at that, and he is down on the inside line. If anyone wants to pass him, they're going to have to go to the outside. What that does here with the super late models, the longer you run on that outside lane, the tighter your car can get. And I'll tell you what, though, that outside lane is always very enticing to me. That's my favorite place to run here at Iowa. Before too much longer, I think we'll see guys right along the wall, especially through turns 3 and 4, the deeper we get into this tire run. But lap traffic gonna start being a factor here, and we'll see how this is gonna shape up.
I think one thing that's going to limit that high line, though, is, at least from where I'm sitting, you look down from above on these corners and you see off the line, it is just a field of marbles. The track is nearly just black with just loose rubber. So going offline at this point is going to be very difficult because just how dirty this track is. So maybe now catching up with the lap traffic that'll force these guys to choose some different lanes and might start sweeping away some of these marbles.
Yeah, those marbles are not where you want to go, but Steph Marinak will now work upon 2 lap-down cars. There you see Martin to the outside in his 39 machine. Chris Stump also right there. Those 2 drivers are not battling for position, but right now they will single file out, as there you see the 24. Steph Marinak kind of sucks back in there between Stump and Martin, trying to get a little bit of a draft off that 98 machine. He won't be too much of a factor there, though, for the draft, as Steph Marinak actually pulls a little bit. Maybe the lap down traffic getting in the way of Edson and Alexander. Hacker also just hanging on to the back. Maybe Hacker is starting to fade here now.
The Brian Hacker falling back just a little bit, but don't be too worried. We still have quite a few laps left to go in this thing. Alexander in that 3rd spot in that 75 machine. I get the impression that Mike Alexander is just kind of stalking that 25, taking his time, being careful on his entry, not to burn up his tires, and make the most of this very long tire run that we have. And if I'm the 75 machine, I want to be the first one on pit road between our top 3 drivers, throwing Brian Hacker there as well. I feel like that driver who hits pit lane first is going to come away with the race lead between our top 4, but then you throw in the fact that it is a gamble and not have that yellow flag come out and mess up your strategy.
Another thing with pitting early is you get the fresh tires early, but then you have a bit more worn out tires later on in the race. And another thing with the whole fuel situation is if you're the later you come in, the less fuel.
Contact! Steph, or not Steph, it's the 51 actually, back here. Now sideways, Al Smith is gonna be. Caution flag will come out here on lap 66. The whole pitting under green flag may have just gone out the window. That all started with Chris Stump in the 98 machine. I saw the smoke, I saw the sideways. Al Smith is involved, I can tell you that. The 51 of Justin Fuller, AJ Hamill also possibly getting some damage.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a race ender for anyone. I mean, we saw Smith go sideways, which is what triggered the caution. We had some cars bumping and banging. There is going to be some dented fenders, but no, doesn't seem like any catastrophic damage for these guys.
So it started with a checkup. Accordion effect is going to really cause the 96 to get sideways. The 13 of Guillaume Fortin gets into his side, but everyone keeps rolling. And the 96 may be able to get away with one there. Maybe Guillaume straightened him out. So what could have been bad for Al Smith, maybe not the worst thing. Definitely don't want to be involved in one, but man, what a stack up that was as drivers come down pit lane.
And here comes the race within the race. This is going to be huge here, as this could decide maybe even the entire race. Is a driver that could get out in front might be able to fend off the other drivers. We've seen that it is quite difficult to pass here tonight, as now it's Steph Marinak leading this field down, drivers each pulling off into their stalls individually. I'm sure they're all going to get 4 fresh tires and a full tank, well, maybe not a full tank of fuel, but at least enough fuel to get them to the finish. And we're going to see who's going to be the first off of pit road.
A couple drivers do, though, stay out. Matt Eddy and Jeremy Carpenter all staying out here, but that race off of pit road, it looks like Marinak right side tires, left side's going on. Same with Jimmy McIntyre. It's a little bit slower stop than what you would think for your most NASCAR pit stop kind of styles, as you do see the number 24 of Marinak down and away. He will win that battle. Then it'll be the 75 of Alexander, Edson, McDuff, and Hamill all coming out of pit road there. So those are your top drivers. Marinak will be the first one of the drivers that did come down pit road. Carpenter now pulls number 7 to pit road, but Matt Eddy will stay out. So that's a gamble here for Matt Eddy. He was down on pit road on lap number 26, but can you make it that far? That's the question.
Yeah, Matt Eddy last on pit road on lap 26. He took those tires early. Here he is out in front of the field. Marinak now finds himself in second. Mike Alexander third. Justin McDuff fourth. And rounding out your top 5 is Trey Edson. Guys, we're going to step away for a quick moment. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C plus ginseng. And the best part is no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's bangalicious.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Best Colorful Creations, the official cake supplier of the Upstate Racing League, Carpenter's Tax Service, SUNY's Country Market.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here at Iowa for the 10th season of the Upstate Racing League as they present the M&M Country 110. Steph Marinak resumes the race lead as Matt Eddy made his way down pit lane during our little break there. So he is going to put his car back deep into the field, but Marinak in front on his outside for this restart will be the 75 of Mike Alexander. We're going to see what he has in store for the 24. Then it's Justin McDuff in the 20 on the inside of row number 2. On the outside is going to be Trey Edson, a very stout rookie here at Iowa.
And Mike Alexander didn't put a lap time down in practice, so I think he just kind of came into this a little not quite warmed up, didn't put down the best qualifying lap, but since he's kind of got some laps underneath him, he has climbed through the field from 19th to 2nd.
Yeah, so he is the biggest mover. He had one of the quickest cars on the speedway before that caution flag did come out, obviously by jumping up 17 spots here as the iRacing pace car will make the left-hand turn, and Steph Marinak not going to waste any time. He will go right back to the loud pedal. It looks like Alexander was not ready for that, but Justin McDuff laid into that loud pedal. He will bring the Arts Barber Shop number 20 to the inside, but look at Alexander. He's going to fight back through the center of the corner. Now Alexander into the outside wall out of turn 2.
That's going to cause Edson to check up. Edson could lose a spot to Fuller here as Fuller is on his outside. And here at Iowa, these multiple lanes, each lane is fast at its given point, and Fuller trying to make that outside lane work here for him. He's going to have the momentum down the backstretch, but that 75 of Alexander didn't get a good run up off of turn number 2, and that's going to allow the 20 of Justin McDuff to stay on his inside as McDuff tries to power down off of turn 4.
And I think a side effect of this caution is it kind of cleaned off the track just a little bit as these guys were running side by side. It forced them to kind of pick up the marbles and chuck them aside and cleaned off that high line a little bit. And that's allowed that high line to just have a bit more speed than it did earlier on, or at least towards the end of that last green flag run, as we see Mike Alexander making the most of it, keeping that 20 of McDuff pinned to that yellow line throughout turns 3 and 4. And we'll see him do it again here in 1 and 2, trying to get as much momentum off of the corner as he can.
Yeah, that outside lane may have got dusted off a little bit, but I've seen a lot of drivers go up into the outside wall off of turn number 2 and turn number 4. So everybody is trying to use these 4 fresh Mr. Feelgoods as much as they can here in the early stages, as you do see Alexander able to actually hold on. Here comes Fuller. Now he'll dive to the inside on Justin McDuff. That'll put the 51 to the inside lane with the Arts Barbershop number 20 to the outside. Edson also right there. Guillaume just behind them. He's looking to the inside of AJ Hamill. So side-by-side battles all over the racetrack here inside the top 10. And they're almost actually 3 wide back there with Brian Hacker sliding up the track. Guillaume gets underneath. Now here comes the 181 also down to the bottom. They are really throwing the haymakers now.
Side by side, the 25 and the 51. That is a battle for 4th and 5th spot. Edson looking to the inside of Fuller. And that 25 machine with a good entry into turn number 3, going to take the spot as Fuller slides in behind the 51. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, as Roger was mentioning, the 81 machine of Gareth Gonder taking a peek to the inside of Hacker. Very close racing there as Hacker washed up a little bit because of it. Hacker going to tag the wall off of turn number 2, but he keeps his foot in it and keeps going. Now the 15 of Barkhouse trying to work by the 81 of Gonder.
Barkhouse battling as hard as he can, trying to stay on that high side and stay in the 9th position, but Gonder trying to move himself up within that top 10. Still sitting just on the outside, just behind them. Justin Rigsby started in 1st, is now in 11th, same with Jimmy McIntyre right behind him. So there's our front row at the start of the race. Now instead of being 1 and 2, they're 11 and 12, but a bit of a run for that 99 machine. He's going to take a peek to the inside of that 15.
Yeah, Barkhorse getting into the outside wall that time out of turn number 4. Remember, though, Rigsby and McIntyre, the reason they were on the front row here tonight for the main show was they got inverted to the front row. So those two were up there, but they kind of faded through the back of the field here. McLean is just behind them also. He has A.J. Rogers right behind him, running there into the 14th position. Rogers, usually on tracks like this, is pretty good. Tonight, he's about the mid-horse pack car. Is one of them down to the bottom. That's the 39 of Bill Martin. He is still out there trying to turn a couple laps. He has picked up 1 position since he brought the 39 machine back out onto the speedway. Not going to be the night he wanted, but at least he keeps on digging. It's still Steph Marinak out at the front with Mike Alexander running in 2nd. Justin McDuff rounds out the top 3 here. We have completed 81 laps here tonight in the cornfields of Iowa.
Marinak continuing to lead in that 24 machine, but Alexander, who took advantage of a great pit stop, came off of pit lane, the 2nd car there, and now he finds himself in the tire tracks of the 24 machine. So far, he has not been able to put a good challenge to Marinak, but I'll tell you what, you keep that pressure on a driver lap after lap, sooner or later they can make a mistake, as Edson taking a peek to the inside of Justin McDuff.
Yeah, he is trying to work that inside line, as we've really seen that both lines have their advantages depending on what the driver wants to run. But one of the things that the side-by-side battles do is they put more strain on those tires. They wear them out faster, and these guys only have a few more laps to go, but they still have to make these tires last another about 26 laps, if I'm doing my math correctly. 27, actually, so 26 as they come to the line. So there's still a lot of racing left to do, and now that 25 is going to slide in front, we'll see what the 20 of McDuff is going to do to respond.
Yeah, you say a lot of racing left. They think it's going to be the white flag just next time by. McDuff going to slide a little bit that time through 1 and 2. He'll lose a little ground. Justin Fuller will close in on the back of them. But there's the battle back here. Gonder and Fortin do the side-by-side jig down into the corner. It just doesn't seem like the 181 can actually get the run off the corner. The high side momentum for Guillaume stays up, but then it looks like Gonder drives it back down onto the yellow line, gets a better entry, and just slides up the track, and he just can't hold it now. Almost contact that time. Going to send Guillaume up the track. He has to check up just a little bit as they now, with just 24 laps to go this time by at the line. Look at them. They are rubbing doors, rubbing paint down in turns 3 and 4.
The 81 of Gonder digging hard on the inside of Guillaume as we take an onboard look brought to you by Track Racer. And I'll tell you what, Gonder digging hard on that inside lane. He is given enough room for Guillaume, but man, when I say enough, it's just enough.
Yeah, these guys are just door to door, and if you're claustrophobic, this series is not for you, because look how close these guys have been racing all throughout the night, just kind of bumping and banging, but really not wrecking too much. You'll see them like kind of lean on each other, but we don't see anyone trying to take the other guy out, and that's just one of the 10. Oh, as I say that, bit too much of rubbing between the 181 and the 13. As it seems like Gonder kind of just tracked up a little too much and got himself turned around on the 13 of Guillaume Fortin.
Gonna take another look at this one. Gonder in the 81 down the back stretch, tried to pinch off the 13. They got together, couldn't separate, both of them getting up on their sides. However, Guillaume was able to keep going as he was pointed in the right direction, but Gonder the big loser in this one, as he was pointed the wrong way. But man, that was close racing lap after lap, and it's going to end badly for the 81.
Yeah, just an unfortunate situation for those two drivers, and definitely some damage for both of those cars. Hopefully they are going to be able to keep it out, but now the 13 going to dive down pit road. He's going to try to fix that car up. As I'm taking another look at that, and yeah, that right side is absolutely beat up on the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, and even the nose as well is kind of had to go over the 181.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that car is going to be coming back out onto the track. It was definitely Crab walking down pit road. We'll see how much damage he can get fixed. It looks like Gondor's down. Bartels, Carpenter also on the pit road along with Matt Eddy. So a couple guys will take the chance here to come down, maybe get some damage fixed. Maybe somebody has a set of tires. We don't know exactly who actually put tires on or if they just took gas last time. We'll find out once they do get back out onto the speedway and start turning laps. It'll be just 20 laps to go when we get to the stripe here under our second caution flag of the evening with Steph Marinak out front. It's going to be Mike Alexander in second. Trey Edson is sitting there in the third position. Fuller is fourth with Justin McDuff sitting there in fifth. AJ Hamill is sixth. Brian Hacker is running into the seventh position. But now it looks like, oh, nope, lie. I thought Hacker was coming to pit road. He faked me. He deked me out from up here.
Very possible to deke out the Muth in the booth, but Roger, that's all right. He was trying to pull in a few drivers. No one took the bait. So here we go. The 24 of Steph Marinak, Mike Alexander. These guys have already taken their tires. They are set for the rest of this race. With that said, guys, we are going to step away for a quick break. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C, plus ginseng. And the best part is, no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's bangalicious.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Eddie's Meat Market. Nobody beats Eddie's Meat. Hanson Starter Shop. Racing Designs. CEG Dealer School. Train, play, consult.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the field still pacing under our most recent caution brought out by Guillaume Fortin in the 13 and the 81 of Gareth Gondor. Gondor able to make it off of pit road. Guillaume still sitting on pit lane. The damage quite extensive on the 13. His night could be done, but Gondor trying to stay on the lead lap, fix the damage as quick as possible, get back out there before he loses a lap. However, this field starting to form up 2 by 2. And Kelly, Roger, this race is everything we thought it would be here at Iowa.
Yeah, I was mentioning before this that if it was going to be as crazy as the LCQ, that we were going to struggle, and it's been just as crazy. These guys have been battling throughout the night, and it's never been really a dull moment at all.
Yeah, racing all over this little track here tonight at Iowa with the lights on. It is the first race of the season here for the Upstate Racing League. These guys have practiced all summer long just to come here into the winter season. They only race once a year together. Everybody else throughout the rest of the year, they race in other leagues. They don't necessarily stick together. So when they get together here in the winter and put on shows like this, you know it's going to be a knock them out, drag them out till the finish. And with just 17 laps to go, when we get the green flag here, will Alexander be able to pick up one more spot to make it 18 spots gained here tonight? We'll find out as the iRacing pace car dives in. It'll be 17 laps to go. Steph Marinak back to the gas.
The 24 gets a good jump, has a 2-car lead, heading into turn number 1, but to the inside for second place. Trey Edson making some noise. The 75 of Alexander using that high side momentum to keep himself to the door of the 25, Fuller. Don't forget about Justin Fuller. He is still lurking right there in that fourth spot.
You got to wonder is with how many laps there are remaining, is Steph Marinak going to try to turn on the jets and run away from these guys, or is he going to keep saving those tires as Mike Alexander continues to battle with Edson on that for second place? He's going to make the outside line work. He's going to clear the 25 and slot himself into position and now focus on trying to chase down that speeding 24, who's our defending champion. He's trying to start the season off strong.
Just behind them, a little bit farther back, 7th position. Brian Hacker has his hands full, as now he's got his hands full even more as Matthew comes up the track. Oh, somebody's spinning. I believe that's the 34 of Rhino spinning out of turn number 2.
Rhino getting sideways off of turn number 2, gonna bring out another caution here at Iowa. As the yellow flag flies, let's take a look at this one. The 81 of Gonder gonna get into him coming off of turn 2. Very close racing between 3 cars there, and unfortunately the 34 going to be the big loser in that situation. As we take one more look, the 7 and the 33 all conspired against the 34, and Gonder just not able to pick up on that and give enough room for Rhino to allow for the 2 cars on his outside.
Yeah, he had a car above him come down, a car below him kind of come up, and he was just stuck where he was. But with at least for that spin, he's going to come away with pretty much no damage, so that car will still be able to compete. But this is going to tick some more laps off, and I think we're going to be under 10 to go when we get back to green. So it is going to be a sprint to the finish, and if we thought the rest of this race was crazy, these closing laps are going to be insane.
Yeah, race fans, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here tonight and you have popcorn in your lap, put the popcorn down on the end table, because you're going to be throwing it by the end of this one. These guys are going to put on a little bit of a shootout now. You saw just about 100 laps here of good racing in Iowa. Now it's going to be just that little bit of a dash. Who will be able to win it? Steph Marinak, Alexander are still running 1 and 2. Maybe somebody that's just kind of been sleeping, lying in the weeds a little bit. AJ Hamill has now worked his way up into the 6th position. Maybe look for him. Remember, he's kind of hung out around the 10th, 11th, 12th position all night long. Now finds himself running 6th. And with just a small shootout like this, all you got to do is be there at the end. If something happens to Marinak or Alexander or Fuller out towards the front of the field, it could take a couple of these drivers with them. And then somebody like AJ Hamill could be sitting in the catbird seat here tonight, where we go back racing under 10 to go.
So a few bit of housekeeping details to bring to your attention. Guillaume still sitting on pit road. He has been there for quite a while now since his incident with Gonder. He currently is scored in 23rd spot. Bill Martin finding himself in 24th position. Martin several laps down. Chris Stump in 25th. Joe Schaefer out of this race, along with, well, I think Colin Phillip. Was he one of them that made it? I don't know.
Nope.
My time in
Philip and
Coyer,
yeah, Philip and Coyer did not qualify, and yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't show us that on our scoring. So we just have to try to remember that where our cutoff point is.
So Joe Schaefer in the 6th machine, gonna kick off his season with a last place finish. Not something he would want to write home about.
Yeah, but they do still have that drop week, and I know you don't want to have to maybe use it on your the first race of the season, but it is still an option. If he does, the next 6 races, if he's fantastic in the rest of them, then this race won't even matter. So that is something that he can take solace in, but it's definitely going to be hard for him the rest of the season. He's going to have that in the back of his mind, kind of telling him that you don't have any second chances anymore.
And Kelly, remind me, sometimes the memory slips here. Is it a win and you advance into the playoffs this season here for season number 10?
It is not. As always, the Upstate Racing League functions on points only. You have to be consistent to make it in. So that's even bigger hit when you think about it. Is you can't really just win your way in on the last race. You have to be strong throughout the whole regular season.
Well, it's the first race, and Martin, Stump, and Schaefer will be behind the 8-ball along with Fortin. Those are 4 very strong competitors here on the iRacing.com platform. So, you know, taking your lump week 1 and still having a handful of races to go before you would get to that cutoff, look for them to come back next week stronger than ever and more determined to park one of those 4 machines into victory lane. But KR, the lights will go out on the iRacing pace car. It'll be 9 laps to decide a winner here for the first race of the season.
Steph Marinak, Mike Alexander making up row number 1 for this restart. Row 2 be Trey Edson and Justin Fuller. Row number 3 going to be the 20 of Justin McDuff, and then AJ Hamill in the 18 machine finding himself on the outside of row number 3. These drivers know that this is go time. It is no longer give and take. It is all about the take. We're going to see the racing get a whole lot closer as the pace car gets out of the way. Marinak gets another good jump, and Edson timed it perfectly. Edson going to edge out in front of Alexander as he heads off into turn number 1.
Oh, and here comes Alexander surging ahead through the exit of that turn. Not going to be enough, though, as the 25 is going to carry enough speed. But while these guys are battling, Marinak's able to pull away just a little bit, and we're getting towards the end of this race. Every single moment matters to these guys.
That's exactly what Steph Marinak likes to see when he looks up in his mirror, and it's side-by-side racing for that second position. That's going to make those 2 drivers use up their tires a little bit more with just 8 laps to go. Now it's 7.5 laps as they still work down the back straightaway. Side-by-side for Alexander to the outside, and that's Edson down to the bottom. Fuller just has nowhere to go. He's kind of in a roadblock right now with that 51 with those 2 cars running side-by-side. Now it's 7 laps to go, this time by at the line.
Justin Fuller is in 4th spot, trying to figure out what lane he wants to go with. He's going to slide up behind Alexander down the backstretch, but dives down to the inside behind Edson through 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Marinak is enjoying that view, as we said. Big time stack up behind him.
Big trouble. I think there's at least 5 cars involved. I see McIntyre, Kryvik, Carpenter, Gonder all involved there in turns 3 and 4. I think even a few more cars. I think the 99 also involved, and that is a big wreck.
Yeah, the 81 of McIntyre also involved with this one, so a ton of drivers towards mid-pack caught up in a wreck with just 6 laps to go.
They're trying to get this all caught in. We're going to take several looks at this one as a lot went down. The 99 of McIntyre getting involved in this. 3 wide, like McIntyre, Barkhouse. Then the 81 goes around the 88 of, or I'm sorry, the 99 of Rigsby. Heavy damage on them, but man, what a huge stack up that was.
Yeah, I think that was just some unfortunate net code between the 42 and the 99 there. Is he kind of just slotted in right behind him, and that for some reason just kicked that 99 machine around and triggered a huge wreck, as that was just in the meat of the pack there.
So now with those drivers getting damaged, we'll see which one of them can continue on here tonight. And, you know, we talked about the shootout that was just about to happen. It was a shootout, as you saw the side-by-side battle for that second position, with Steph Marinak actually starting to check out in his 24. He did not want to see this caution flag, but maybe Alexander Edson, Fuller, McDuff, and Hamill did. So now, with it going to be even shorter, I believe this is going to go to overtime here tonight in Iowa.
So lights are on the pace car. We're going to take another quick break. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Oh. Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Lights are still on the pace car. Steph Marinak in the 24 machine out in front of Mike Alexander. This field itching to get going. We may see the lights go out on the pace car this time. If that happens, we're going to have a one-lap shootout to the end of this thing, Kelly.
Yeah, I believe we will. We'll have to keep an eye on the pace car as it comes around now. Just coming off of turn 4. We'll keep a close eye as it crosses the start-finish line here. Will the lights stay on or will they go off? The lights go off. There will be the this is the final caution. So it just came up on the race control. It says that it'll try a green-white checkered, but I think it's going to be green and white at the same time. So this is going to be it. They're going to go green once. They're going to go once around the field, and Marinak is just going to have to try to hold everyone off.
Yeah, will he? This is actually the one of one green-white checker. So yeah, I mean, this is all we're going to get. The next flag will end it. Meaning, well, if we come back around and get the white flag, or if the yellow flag flies here once again, will Steph Marinak be able to hold off the strong charging 75 of Mike Alexander? And Trey Edson Fuller is also right there ready to pounce. We will go green flag this time by.
All right, so the pace car going to get out of the way. Marinak needs to have a picture-perfect restart like he has time and time again, and he is going to do it once again. The 24 grabs some throttle, and away we go, but Alexander does keep him honest going into turn number 1. Alexander to the outside, trying to make his way to the front of this field, but Edson almost getting into him as they came off of turn 2.
It looks like Alexander just put a little too much pedal into it, had to lift off on the exit of 2, and that allowed that 25 to close back up to them. White flag in the air one last time around for the start of the season. Can the 24 hold them off?
Steph Marinak will go down into turn number 1 for the final time here tonight. Turn 1 looks good. Turn 2 looks great. Now just down the back straightaway and 2 more corners to go. It looks like Alexander might be able to hold on to that second position. Turn 3 for Steph Marinak looks good. KR, bring us home.
Off of turn number 4, it is going to be the 24, Steph Marinak. He picks up the win here tonight to kick off the 10th season in the Upstate Racing League. Mike Alexander brings it home in second. Trey Edson going to round out the final step of the podium. Justin Fuller and Justin McDuff sitting at 4th and 5th here for this final finish. And man, oh man, what a race we had here tonight at Iowa.
Yeah, Steph Marinak just picking up right where he left off last season with some absolute domination. Got the lead early on and just never looked back as he led a ton of laps.
As the 24, Steph Marinak burns it down, we are going to set up our post-race show here tonight. No one go anywhere. We'll be back to talk to our top 3 finishers. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are kicking off our post-race show, and we're going to start this one off with Steph and Marinak. The Florida Gators 24 machine wins here tonight in the M&M Country 110. Steph, tell us a little bit about that race out there. One outstanding drive to kick off your season in that 24 machine. And Steph, you pick up kind of right where you left off. This 24 out in front of the field, got to feel good. All right, man. Well, congratulations on the finish here tonight. Hopefully you will continue your winning ways throughout this season, man. Any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, just shout out to my teammates at Empire Racing Team and M&M Country Store for sponsoring the race, and all the other sponsors that have come on this season. I know it's been a tough year for businesses, so that's great that a lot of sponsors are coming back, and we got some new sponsors too. And thank you guys for doing the broadcast.
All right, that is your race winner, Steph Marinak, bringing it home with a victory. But now we're going to throw it to Kelly Dahl, who's caught up with our second place finisher, Mike Alexander.
Yeah, caught up here with driver, the number 75, Mike Alexander. Mike, no time in practice, not the best qualifying. You have to race your way into the LCQ, start the feature 19th, come home second. You got to explain what all kind of happened along those that.
Well, I had computer problems there just at the start of the night when I came into practice, and it kept lagging, and my quality was really bad, so I didn't get any practice laps. And my first lap on the track was my qualifying lap, and it was okay but not amazing. And when we started the race, I thought everybody was just kind of saving, because I was picking my way through pretty good, and I thought I was gonna have no tires left, and next thing I know, they just kept coming to me. I know there was a big wreck there at the front that helped us out a lot too.
Well, starting your season off right with a second place finish, I mean, how much confidence did that give you going on to the rest of the season?
That gives me a lot of confidence. They're, these guys are super fast, and I ran here last year as my first time, and I didn't have much luck. I had a couple good runs, but not a whole lot of luck, and it feels really good to get the season off on a good start.
Well, like I said, it's just the start of the season. We got a lot of races at a lot of different tracks coming up. Is there any kind of track on there that kind of jumps out to you as one that you're really looking forward to?
I just like I don't like the bigger tracks. I'm surprised how good I was here, but I like anything short. Oxford, I love Oxford. Any of them small little the bull ring, any of that kind of stuff. That's where I normally thrive.
Well, I'm when I race oval, I'm an IndyCar driver, so all of these tracks are tiny to me. So I will take your word for it. We will look forward to seeing you race at those smaller tracks. And before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for this awesome second place run you had here tonight?
Just the team over at Rev Racing, Aaron Arkinson's Auto Salvage, and Xander Sign Group.
All right, well, that was the driver of the number 75, Mike Alexander, your second place finisher here tonight. Thank you so much for coming out to talk to us, Mike, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, man.
So now moving on, I believe Roger's going to be caught up with our third place finisher.
Yeah, standing down here with the driver of the number 25, the Aftermath Motorsports driver, Trey, a third place finish tonight here in the season opener. First off, congratulations on that one. But walk us through tonight here at Iowa. A big track here for the super late models, and you finishing on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, It was my first race in the league, so I got to thank Al for approving me and getting me through the approval series a few weeks ago. And I don't really ever get to race the super late model. I run in more of a NASCAR league, so it's a lot of the tracks like this, but a whole different animal that we're driving. So kind of just need to thank Justin Fuller. He's my teammate. He's the reason that I'm running this year. So he kind of gave me some feedback with what the tires do and how to drive the car. So I kind of just practiced a little bit and put down a good qualifying lap. I didn't want to have to run the LCQ and try to work my way through traffic because I want to say it's impossible to pass at Iowa, but Mike did a good job of that. So kudos to him. I was just trying to save early on because it seems Iowa's pretty hard on the tires, whether you're in a super late model or you're in really any car. So I was trying to save the right front, but I just had guys hounding at me and just laying on my left rear. So I just kind of said screw it and started driving my rear off. I got to the leader there, the one long green flag run we had, but he never really made a mistake where I could capitalize on it, and I just kind of hung out. And then we had when we finally all did pit, I lost 2 or 3 spots on the pit stop. I don't really know what I did wrong or whether I put too much fuel in it or what, but just kind of I wouldn't say end your night because you can't really control what happens in front of you. But as hard as it was to pass, I knew getting to second, third, or ending up in fourth or fifth was more of a likely shot than winning. But first race here, I will gladly take a podium.
Yeah, very strong competition right out in front of you towards the end of this race. You saw Steph Marinak. Talk us through those final closing laps there on those restarts. You had a couple of them back to back here tonight. You know, Steph would always fire off, but then you had to battle with Mike, and it just seemed like you couldn't clear him and he couldn't clear you there at the end and kind of let Steph get away.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with Mike. I don't know any of these guys, so I didn't want to tick anyone off first night here, but yeah, I felt like there was a 1 or 2 where I launched with Steph pretty good. And I mean, I almost had to be clear of Mike several times. But I was just a little hesitant on clearing myself after watching what happened to Bill early on. I didn't death hook off of 2. But yeah, I would dive it off in. I would drive down the straightaways and I would tell myself, like, I'm not lifting until I hear Mike lift. And he would still I don't know if it was the outside groove or if I just used my tires up, but he was able to get in the same distance as me, but also just carry more roll speed through the corner and that outside groove, and then you carry the momentum on exit just because I'm pinched down on the bottom. So whether I cleared him, and I don't think I had anything for Steph without ruffling feathers, and it was a good battle. I was just a little too tight on the bottom to get by Mike.
Yeah, but it's still a strong finish here tonight. P number 3 for you, Trey. Who makes it all possible behind the scenes with this number 25 crew?
Really nobody. The quarter panels are blanked, so I really just need to thank Al and everybody at Upstate for letting me run here, and Fuller for pointing me where to find a good short track league. So that's kind of thanks to you guys for broadcasting. I'll probably go back and watch it tomorrow. That's usually what I do, and when I get in a broadcasted race, so I'll go check it out and kind of see what else went on that I wasn't able to see.
Well, there you heard it from your third place finisher tonight. Trey Edson gonna move up 2 spots. He will finish into the third and final podium position here tonight. KR, it was one whale of a show by these top 3 that they put on. Steph Marinak, though, will be the winner.
It is going to go to Steph Marinak here as your race winner, followed by our second place finisher of Mike Alexander, and Trey Edson in third, Justin Fuller fourth, with Justin McDuff finishing in fifth.
6th will be Matt McLean. 7th will go to AJ Hamill. The 8 of Andy Lambert finishes 8th. AJ Rogers comes home 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Brian Hacker.
In 11th will be Matthew Barkhouse. 12th going to Paul Lecart, Matt Eddy 13th, 14th Al Smith Jr., and 15th Brian Rogers.
Mike Rhino comes home in 16th. 17th goes to Gareth Gondor. Drew Krybick comes home 18th. 19th will be Jimmy McIntyre Jr. And rounding out the top 20 is the 99 of Justin Rigsby.
21st goes to Brett Bartels, Jeremy Carpenter 22nd, 23rd Guillaume Fortin, Bill Martin 24th, Chris Stump 25th, and Joe Schaefer gonna bring it home in 26th spot here tonight. So as we wrap up here at Iowa, we move on next week to another race, another outstanding show here tonight at Iowa. Kelly, Roger, closing thoughts?
I mean, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I look forward to this this series every year, and tonight's race, oh, it did not let me down. I have had a blast. It was an amazing race to watch, and I'm excited that we get to keep doing this every week for the next about 12, 13 weeks.
Yeah, it was a pleasure joining you guys here tonight for the season opener for the season number 10 for the Upstate Racing League tonight here at the Iowa Speedway. It showed you some of the hard-nosed racing that you will see all season long between some of the best iRacing short track drivers on the circuit. Steph Marinak showed you tonight why he was last season's champion. Next week, KR, you head to the Irwindale Speedway in California. That is one of the best short tracks in the nation, and you will see some of the best short track racers do the battle once again.
That's taking place next Thursday night. Make sure you are right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network for that one. So until then, on behalf of myself, Kelly Dahl, and Roger Muth, thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we look forward to seeing you Thursday night.